You're listening to Double Time, your daily accessible technology show. Now, here's your hosts, Stephen Scott and Shaun Preece.
Hey, Shaun Preece, how are you today?
Good. Oh, can't start off laughing at a non-joke. Sorry. I'm very well, Stephen. How are you, sir?
I think it's a good thing on a Monday if you can start with a smile. I think that's a good thing. I was telling Shaun just before we came on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I don't feel that we shouldn't let people in our little stories.
Okay.
So
I do.
Selling a lot of stories. I'll pick this one. So my wife tells me this morning to empty the contents of the slow cooker into our recycling bin.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, I decided, being, the kind of manly man that I am,
You knew better, sir. Yes.
I knew better. And
Of
I
course.
said, I am going to not try and tip this into some kind of bag that will then go into a receptacle because it's just lying around there, right? It's just lying there stinking.
Yes.
And I thought, I've got a better idea, which is I just flush it down the toilet.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense to me. It gets rid of it quickly.
Gone.
It's not hanging around.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
pour it. So I did. I took the slow cooker in, and what I didn't I suppose I didn't really calculate here was the
Amount of mince.
there was a considerable amount of mince inside this machine, and I had to also tip that machine up. I also didn't realize that you could take the bowl out of the machine itself until
you use it regularly
last minute.
then?
Oh, you know me. I am all into my kitchen gadgets.
Plugs in the toilet, everything. Yeah.
I dragged the whole thing through, and then I realized, because actually the whole thing collapsed out of it. You see, I picked it up from the bowl, and the bottom part, the slow cooking part, that's the bit with the plug on it, fell away. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know this came apart. So that actually makes it easier. But what I didn't really calculate, Shaun, was the mouth on this bowl. And of course, the bowl, which I'm pouring it into, the toilet bowl. And let's just say there was a lot more mince came out than I thought there was in there. And there was a considerable splashback.
Oh, this is just such a terrible story. It doesn't matter how you fancy it up. It's just awful. This is gross. And of course, when you flushed it away, it just did that. It went away, right?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
let's just say a plunger was involved in remaining remnants of the mince. It was a joyous morning. That's how I've spent my morning. I've been cleaning walls of mince juice.
Yes, I believe it's grease and fat from your toilet. Lovely. What a lovely start to a Monday morning. Well done, you.
Oh, the people at the sanitation must love me.
Oh, yeah. That's those, what do they call them? Fat burgers in the sewers that you see. The size of double-decker buses. You're the culprit. You're the reason.
It's all because of me. That's right.
Dear.
So it's been a fun morning.
What your partner says.
Yeah.
Stephen Scott's as simple as that.
Thought
Just throw it in the bin.
I thought I would share that with you because I felt you needed to hear that this morning, just to cheer you up. Get
I
you
know,
going.
just before you hit record.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
The thing is, I know that you sometimes, you start the show off on a Monday and you're feeling a little bit, I don't know, maybe indulged. Yes, overindulged. Have you been eating more of the takeaway?
No. No, not at all, sir. I was going to bring that up with you because you're emptying a rather full slow cooker by the sounds of it.
Yes.
Does that mean you've been Uber eating it?
A little bit.
Have you not got over that yet?
I will say the reason we had to unfortunately get rid of said mince was because the mince was it wasn't quite as in date as we thought it was.
Oh.
And on first taste, we both realised something's not quite right here.
Hang on. Tech angle. Did you not use Seeing AI or some sort of Be My Eye service to get human assistance, or just use OCR to read that best before date?
I was at my mum's house yesterday, and she says to me, she's trying to buy this new pair of jeans. She's got a pair of jeans she likes, and I've been trying to explain to her, look, I can't just buy a pair of jeans. I need to know more about the jeans you want. What is it you want?
Yes.
And so she brings me a pair of these jeans. So I'm thinking, okay, I've got this sussed, I've got Seeing AI, I've got Be My AI, I've got everything AI. I'll be able to figure this out. And apparently there's a barcode on there as well on the little label inside.
No.
And I'm thinking, this is going to be great. I'm going to get all the information I need and more. Nothing. Couldn't get any information. Couldn't get the barcode to scan.
Hang on, when you say there's a barcode, you don't mean actually on the laundry instruction label.
Well,
were these
under
new?
the label. Yeah, on the label of the back. Yeah, that's right. There was a little barcode on there.
Really?
Because what happened was I scanned it with Be My AI.
Yeah.
It gave me a fantastic description. I mean, seeing AI, God love it, but it didn't give me much. It just read every single thing. And the problem is there's a whole load of numbers on a table, which is telling you the size in various countries, as they often do on these labels. It will tell you, UK, EU, US, whatever different sizes.
Yes.
But it doesn't read that very well from seeing AI. Be My AI, however, bang on the money. There's a table and it contains the following data and this relates to this. And I thought, wow, this is incredible. Totally got it.
Right.
And it says there's a barcode on there. And I thought, oh, barcode, excellent. So I went to my QR code scanner, nothing. Went to my barcodes, well, not my QR, my barcode scanner, nothing.
Yes.
Could not get it to scan. I tried laying it flat. I tried,
Whoa.
doing
When you
the
say
whole ironing
barcode
out.
scanner, what
Yes.
do you mean?
Well, I went
In
into
seeing AI?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm just double checking.
Didn't
You
do
might have
anything.
you might have a specific barcode app. I don't know. So seeing AI, that's under the product channel,
Yes.
I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And
It
there's
didn't
two
do
types.
anything.
There's two types of QR code or barcode, I should say.
Barcode. Come
I
on.
keep saying QR. One is regular barcode, every day. And then there's like an enhanced barcode, which I had no
Is
idea
there?
about. Yeah, apparently there's another option in there. So I chose that and it still did nothing. So I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I found out absolutely nothing other than the size, which was useful, but I didn't get the information about what the product was. And I thought, hang on, I thought the whole point of all this was to allow me to know more about, I know the brand because it told me the brand.
Well, yeah, it gave
got
you
me the
all the
size.
information you need.
No, but it didn't
just
tell me. But you go into these stores, and maybe this is a woman's clothing thing. I don't buy women's clothing that often.
sexist.
No, hang on.
Yes.
I went onto the website, and there's about 8 billion types of jeans.
Well, I'm sorry, you
Straight,
didn't refine your search
bagged,
parameters. No. You're just looking
pleated.
for a link
I don't know.
and a buy now button. You're just trying to find, like
Yes.
the toilet and the mince, Stephen Scott. You're trying to
Shortcut
find
my way to it. Yeah, I want to shortcut my way to the solution,
on that.
which inevitably takes about another 4 hours.
Plunging on Be My Eyes for Windows this time. It's been updated. I hadn't really noticed, but it's been updated. With some nice little features in there. Very cool.
Like what?
I cannot quit it.
I
As
love
in-
how you skipped that line.
Not, yeah, like what? I don't know. No,
Stuff.
it's just been, you can customize the keyboard shortcuts was the main one because, the default ones, which were Control,
yeah.
J, K, L, and H, I believe.
Yeah.
They had a little bit of interference. If you had something like Outlook on, those wouldn't work. So
Sorry,
now
Sean,
you
let
can
me
set-
just interrupt you for a second.
Yes.
Be My Eyes, if you're listening, and I'm sure you will be. Mac version, anytime about now would be kind of nice. Just saying. Okay, sorry, carry on.
All right. That was a PSA from
Yes,
Stephen
from Stephen Scott.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, look, it's had a nice update to it. I cannot, for the life of me, figure out how to quit Be My Eyes. And I don't mean I really love it and I'm addicted to it, because I do. But Alt F4 does not work. It just stays there. Am I missing something? Does anyone know? Let me know.
Control
Feedback
W?
at doubletaponair.com. Ooh, that's a good...
Well, just close window, right?
I haven't tried that. Did I? I don't know. I've tried a lot of things trying to close it down, but I could not find it. I couldn't find like a quit option in there anywhere. So yeah, maybe I will try that. I don't want to try it right now. And it doesn't do any harm just
close the whole
just
thing
running there. I'll tell you the only problem is it's another Alt tab in the flow. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
When you're trying to get to something, and I've always tried to streamline the Alt tab. And when you've got 20 programs open, it's just another one in there. So sometimes I do want to close it down.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe that's just me. I'm just putting it out there.
Friday night, I go to bed and I take my little Motorola G54 to bed with me. And there we are, lying together. And
Okay, stop
beautiful
that.
moment. And the next minute, I get this notification. As I put the phone down by my side because I picked up my iPhone because I wanted to do something. And I...
What, that you couldn't do using the Motorola?
I'm still going through setup. So,
All right.
5 weeks in. And so next minute, I get this notification. Talkback updated.
Ooh.
Okay. Hello.
15?
Yes. So I go in, I'm thinking, right, I'm going to play with these image descriptions. So off I went and found an image online, just anything. Actually, I went to doubletaponair.com. Fantastic website, by the way.
Well done.
Could do with a few updates, but we'll get there. I went to one of the images on the page, which was alt texted, just saying. And anyway, that was fine. But I thought, okay, let's use one of these images and let's just see if it can give me some more description. And although it couldn't give me much more because the description I use is from Be My AI, so it's going to have a fairly decent description already.
Yes, but Talkback 15 uses Google's Gemini AI
to
give its image descriptions.
And so what I did was I used, now whether or not this is right or wrong, I did the angle gesture up and right. So you hold your finger on the screen, you go up and then you go right and then you let go. And up comes the Talkback menu. And first up, describe image. So double tapped on that. Honestly, it was like 2 seconds, if anything. And there we had this beautiful description of the image. And I thought, that is really nice. That is really nice. I mean, tried it a couple of times, different couple of images. But I thought, with the holiday season coming up, obviously we've got the Prime event coming up this week as well. We're going to be buying bits and pieces. And you think, this is going to be so cool. And it will make me use the Android phone for that purpose because that is just so good. It's so easy to get access to those image descriptions. And
beautiful.
We're going to be talking, actually, I should say, this feels like a beautiful moment to say, we will be talking to, now hang on, Lisi Lilienfeld. Did I get that right?
I think you actually did. Well done.
Because I struggled when we did the interview. Yes. We spoke last week to Lisi from Google. Now, she is the product manager for Android. Specifically, she's working in the field of Google Gemini and Talkback, making the marriage happen. So we're going to be talking to her. We'll be playing that interview out tomorrow on Double Tap. So do check that out. Very interesting conversation about it. She wasn't giving us a huge amount. I'm not going to spoil it, but she didn't give us a huge amount of detail in terms of what else is coming down the line. Although we certainly gave her some good suggestions. So we shall get into that chat tomorrow for sure. But a really nice feature. Really, really good. And I love the way it's integrated.
I'm glad you've tried it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just say, I believe a 3-finger single tap will bring up that Talkback menu as well.
Oh,
just for those of you who, maybe the angular gestures are a bit old school. I don't know.
You think I'm old?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, fine. Right, shall we do this? Oh, no, that's the goodbye.
No, probably not.
Let's not do the goodbye. Let's do this instead.
Email. We get email. We get your email every day.
We are professionals.
Here's your mail today.
Professionals at what exactly? I'm not entirely sure, but
such a Monday show. Sorry,
it does feel a bit Monday, doesn't it? It does feel a bit Monday. Manic Monday.
Well done, Mince Monday. That's what I'm calling
Mince Monday. That's what we'll call the show. Mince Monday.
There's the episode title.
Thank you, Shaun. You're so useful at times.
I know, I'm creative. Carry on.
Right, look, lots of you getting in touch around Be My AI and also the Meta Ray-Bans, of course. But I want to go back a little bit because we're still playing catch up a little bit with a lot of the emails here. So I want to dive into this one, which we got from Jeff, and this focuses on his experience of the Meta Ray-Bans.
Hello guys and Laura. I agree with the review of using the Ray-Ban Meta glasses that we got from Shaun today. In my experience, the software that runs on the glasses will not tell me what colour a car is that is in front of us on the road or passing by me as I walk. It will not read license plate numbers. It will not describe a person or even their attire, whether on television or on the street. All of this is supposed to be due to privacy concerns. The problem is that these are the kind of information I look out for of these glasses. Along with the pulling teeth that is required to read any text and the big mistakes it makes when reading street signs, I just don't use mine at this point. I was walking the other day and asked it to read a street sign to me, and it reported the street sign as reading East 12th Avenue. The trouble is that my wife's phone, just using the camera app, read it perfectly as Europa Avenue. While taking a picture of my backyard, which leads to a small pond, it threw in all kinds of words like tranquil and serene and well-manicured lawn. The reality, according to sighted people in my house, is that we have a bunch of weeds and other plants just growing up outside the fence that were like 4 foot tall, so where is the accuracy? My solution is that someone should just allow the iPhone to connect to the glasses as an accessory. Then they could connect to Seeing AI or Be My Eyes. That would be near perfection to me. Be My Eyes, to me, is the hands-down winner so far of all the environmental descriptive systems out there. And, as I have paid $300 each for both the Ray-Ban and the Bose frames, I'm running low on my budget for experimentation and need to wait until someone reports a breakthrough like that. I do like using the Bose frames as headphones that leave my hearing around me mostly intact. Only the short battery life bugs me on those. And as a totally blind person, taking pictures is not something I need to do with my glasses if they can't connect to an app that can really honestly report the scene to me. I will wait, like everyone else, for the upcoming event to see if they figure out what the purpose is with these glasses. Jeff Armstrong, Hugo, Minnesota.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Appreciate that. I've got to say, it's interesting. And read by Laura, of course, the lovely Laura. Thank you for that, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
I get where you're coming from. And of course, this email has likely come in before we had the big announcement about Be My Eyes, not Be My AI, though. So, again, I reiterate that point that Be My Eyes is coming to the Meta Ray-Bans, Be My AI, not yet. But the talk is, and certainly from what we heard from the Meta Connect event this year, that Meta AI is going to improve. Got to pick you up on something before I go back to Jeff's point, because a few emails have been coming in. I just want to get ahead of this. A few emails coming in saying, why does Shaun keep saying Meta AI is available in the UK when it's not? It's just not there. And there's a lot of people who are still having to go onto VPNs to get access to it. And in some cases, when they come off that VPN for a couple of days, the Meta AI just disappears. So it's not available here in the UK yet, unless via VPN. The confusion, though, in fairness, and I know why Shaun says this, because, I don't actually know why you say it. We'll get your answer on that.
Be careful, because I'm going to contradict you in just 1 second.
I'm used to it. I am married. But the thing is, personally, I think there's a confusion because Meta AI does show up in the menu, but it says it's limited. So you can be confused for thinking Meta AI is there because it kind of is, but it's just a very limited version of it in the UK at the moment, not the full-fledged version you get in the US and other territories, unless you're via VPN. Shaun contradicts me now.
Yes, it is available here in the UK, but the caveat is, as you just mentioned, limited. I mean, early access, I honestly don't know. 8 out of 10 people, I just made that stat up, will have access to it. If you've just bought your Meta Ray-Bans now here in the UK and you go to set them up, the chances are it will say AI is available. But there's still enough people out there that say, no, I'm not seeing it whatsoever. So, yeah, and it's strange because if you look on the Meta website or anything like that, it doesn't mention the UK at all.
No.
But I know I've set up 2 pairs now, and every time, without a VPN at all, AI comes up and I can use it.
But hang on, just to be clear, you're saying Meta AI, which you're right, because I get exactly the same thing. It asked me when I set up the one I'm wearing today, which is the denim ones. Very fashionable. So I'm told my wife likes them. So I think that's, that to me is the marker.
Yes. She's got to say she likes them.
No, she doesn't. She really doesn't. And if she didn't like them, she would absolutely tell me. I take her judgment as gospel.
Okay, I'm sure they're beautiful.
Because she will tell me if she doesn't like something, and rightly so. But the thing is, when you set them up, it does say enable Meta AI, but then when you go into the settings, it is limited. Now, of course, if you join a VPN, you will then get the extra functionality.
Which is what exactly? No, I see, this is where the confusion lies. When I read early access, limited early access, I see that as, well, you'll either get it like a beta. They either just sign you up or you don't get it at all. So that limited, I don't think there's limited feature set.
No, it says that. It says it quite clearly in there. It says limited features. Some features are not available in your region.
Yes. So such as the AI. I mean, you can still voice control it, take a picture,
that's the thing.
take a video.
It's a little bit like Lady A versus what Lady A is going to be like down the line. That's what it feels like to me. It's like, a much more talkative, a much more personalized, a much more capable AI is coming. But at the moment, we're stuck with, sorry, I have no idea. Or let me check out awarethewolf.com, or whatever it is.
This is where we need to throw out to our listeners, because what is their experience with it? Because if the Meta AI tab is there in the tabs at the bottom, you have access to Meta AI. If you can say, look and describe what's in front of me, that's access to Meta AI. I ask, what version of Llama are you using? And it will say, I'm using 3.1. So that is definitely the AI we're in. Now, if there's some sort of extra features that we're missing out on, maybe. Honestly, I don't know. But you're still using the AI. And it is available here in the UK, but not for everyone.
Yeah. It's very
But
confusing.
for the most people I talk to, they do have access to it. And can I just clear this up as well? When you mentioned the VPN, lots of people are saying, well, this VPN only gives me something like, I don't know, 10 gigs of downloads. And, is that enough? The point here is you don't need the VPN on all the time. Once you turn VPN on and set it to America or Canada or somewhere where Meta AI is available, once you open the MetaView app, it will say, oh, you're in somewhere where it's available. I'll turn it on for you. And then you can just simply turn the VPN off. You don't have to use it ever again unless the Meta AI suddenly goes away, and in which case, you've left this territory. So, don't worry too much about the VPN. But yes, no, I would say this. I will say not officially available in the UK then.
Yeah, it is confusing. It really is. Because there is that sense of it's available, but it's also not available. There are features. And this is all down to regulation. This is all down to, in part, there's a big issue with Europe and the EU in particular. And, there's a lot of concern, I think, from the European people within the European Union who are concerned that a lot of the features that are coming out on all of these new devices will be limited or not available at all because of privacy issues and concerns. And the EU's taking quite a hard line on a lot of this stuff. And of course, that raises all kinds of things. I mean, we haven't really touched on this, and we will, but the EU Accessibility Act is coming in soon, next year, in fact. And we're going to dig into that a little bit because it will have an impact, even though it's EU and the UK isn't in the EU, and
we're
obviously
already
Canada and
the
the US.
impact of the EU regulations.
Oh, absolutely. But the accessibility one could be actually a really good thing for us.
More.
I think a really good thing because it's going to force companies to do things.
Yes.
And because they have to do it across, essentially, I'd be very surprised, for example, if an accessibility feature was forced in the EU that didn't roll out to other parts of the world.
Well, yes, I mean, that's the theory behind it. You could argue USB-C, hey, everything in the EU's got to have a USB-C, so they're not just going to make one model. But I don't know. It could be. I mean, we are seeing this with AI at the minute. AI cannot be trained on data from social media here in the EU. So, okay, well, you don't get it. Accessibility, will it work the same? I hope not. It doesn't. We'll see. We hope common sense shines through.
Jeff, I want to mention also, you talked about taking pictures and you said you wanted to know the scene beforehand. I've got to say, I have a slightly different view on this. Actually, I find I'm taking more pictures now because of the Meta Ray-Bans. And I don't really care about essentially the image itself. Like, for example, the other day, we were out for a walk and just the scene, I didn't really know much about the scene. So I just took some pictures. And then I came home and spent the time. And it was quite nice, actually, just having the time to just throw that into Be My AI and say, okay, tell me more about this image and tell me more about this. Or perhaps there's something going on. You're hearing a lot of shouting. Well, I'm saying I live in an area where there's a lot of shouting. But sometimes you might hear a scuffle or a stramash or whatever word you wish to use going on. I don't know if people know what that word is, but there you go. You
just made it up.
It's a Scottish word, so just get over it. Shaun Preece. Yes.
Scottish word.
It's a real language. I tell you, it's not going to be a dialect for long as Scotland goes independent. I'm telling you that now. We'll become a language and you'll have to respect us.
Oh, wow. Okay, carry on.
We are people too,
Said we've got to get through these emails.
Yeah, how are we doing? 23 minutes in and we've done one. Okay, I get it. Okay, right, fine. But
okay,
anyway, my point,
I use it exactly the same thing. Yeah, I was walking the other day and I heard digging and skip shoveling dirt into a skip. So something was happening on the sidewalk in front of me. So a quick WhatsApp call, sort it out for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I use to go back to Jeff's email. I've got to say, I'm using these more for the headphones are fantastic. Best sounding ones I've heard, including the Bose frames.
Seeing a lot of people saying that on social media right now, saying how they're amazed by the music quality.
Controls are fantastic. Being able to take a video quickly, hands-free, not having to worry about framing anything up, taking your phone out, fantastic. But the WhatsApp calling, the Be My Eyes volunteer calling when it finally hits, and also the IRA beta, by the way, let's not forget that. If you are lucky enough to be involved in that, you're able to make an IRA call through WhatsApp.
And a lot of people on that wait list are now on it.
Yeah. I mean, that alone for me, just the WhatsApp calling, being able to call one of my family members, say, right, I'm lost, what's going on here, whatever it may be, is so valuable to me. And now, as soon as that Be My AI or even the Llama 3.2, which was so impressive from that event, hits, then maybe they're going to get even more useful. So we will see.
Just a total aside, but I want to ask it out there because I don't feel I'm alone in this. But do you ever suffer from, as a result of wearing the Meta Ray-Bans, a weird sensation, which I don't know if I can describe this, but almost like someone's hitting my ears. Let me explain this.
Yes, please do.
When I'm using, and it could be the volume level. I did reduce the volume level because I tend to have them usually up at full because I go outside, I can't hear a thing. When I'm walking, I get this weird sensation in my ears. It's like I can't even describe it. And it took me a while to realize what it was. It's basically the air being pushed from the speakers.
Oh, yeah. No.
And you get this kind of bump, bump, bump in your ear. And it's actually a little bit disconcerting. Do you ever get
How loud do you have
Very
those
loud.
Meta Ray-Bans?
Way too loud.
I always have them around 35 to 45 volume. You can say that, by the way, set volume too. No, I've never had that. I get that all the time with the Oho Sunshines. It feels like someone's blowing in my ear. I quite like it, to be honest.
I don't like it. It freaks me out every time. Actually, I had to change my voice from eloquence to a female voice just because it was lighter. There was less, because the eloquence voice is quite bassy, and these are very good audio. So you do get a lot
Alex
of bass.
On then.
No, exactly. No Alex, no Daniel. It has to be a female voice, and it has to be a light female voice. And of course, you can change the pitch as well. That's another way to get around it. But yeah, just ways to deal with that, because it was like, and I don't like that at all.
That's a selling point to me. Put that on the plus list.
Okay, fine. It's a feature, not a bug, for sure. Right, let's hear what Ian has to say on all this.
Hello, everyone. I am a first-time listener, and I'm catching up with your archive. In one of your June podcasts, you expressed hope that the Ray-Ban glasses would eventually be able to use apps like Be My Eyes or Ira, etc. I have read elsewhere that the stumbling block here is Apple's own reluctance to allow connections to third-party cameras. If true, I don't think Apple will move from their privacy stance, and accessibility apps will have to write their own versions or run whatever platform Meta comes up with. I'm really enjoying your discourse on here and will subscribe to your YouTube channel ASAP. Regards, Ian Harrison in Hull.
Well, thank you very much. That's very kind.
Please like and subscribe. Is that what you've got to say? I can't. Please hit the notification button. Oh, this isn't YouTube, right? Okay,
well, it is.
Sorry.
We're on YouTube as well. But here's the thing, right? I've been asked by the various people higher up at AMI to say, please, Stephen, for goodness sake, could you at some point in your show mention that there is a way for people to subscribe to the channel, and actually by subscribing it to the channel, it saves the show from being scrapped.
Oh yeah, that's very important. Actually, I forgot that bit. Please like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Just keep hitting tab until you find it, or swipe to the right, or however you want to. Yeah, thank you very much. Now back to the email, Stephen.
Yes, back to the emails. In fact, actually, just at this point, I should say, if you do want to get involved with the show, here's how.
Call the Double Tappers now, 1-877-803-4567, or email us, feedback@doubletaponair.com.
Okay, let's move on to Barry's email, and this is a really interesting story of how they use Be My AI and Be My Eyes.
Hi. I thought I would share my use of Be My AI tonight. Let me set the scene. We as a family have a no screen rule on school nights for our kids aged 6, 8 and 13. Although my 13-year-old gets an hour a day on his iPhone. So, no TV, iPads or computer Monday through Thursday, apart from for homework purposes. Tonight, my 13-year-old came in tonight complaining of having flu-like symptoms, so he didn't attend his athletics club. When serving him his dinner, I thought he was being rather quiet. No music, audiobook, etc. Feeling like this was a little suspicious, I secretly opened up Be My AI and took a picture. I hear the words Be My Eyes is writing a message. Then it said, young child watching a tablet. My next conversation with my son went as follows. What are you watching? Nothing. Are you sure? Yes. Are you being 100% honest there? No. I didn't realise that Be My Eyes would be such a good parenting tool. Thank you. I felt very smug with my use of the app, and I didn't have to admit how I knew he was watching said device. Barrie.
Isn't that brilliant?
That is brilliant. And it's so funny. I was kind of worried there it was going to be, he looked ill or something, but of course not. He was just sneakily using a technology. Really good. And a really good example of how we use AI and how we use this technology, right? It's not all about reading the mail.
No, that's right. No, exactly. Some really cool tips and things we've been talking about, though, in the past couple of weeks. And I think we'll be... certainly for the app feature that we've been talking about doing, and we seem to talk more about the apps than the actual feature. But, I think there's just been so much coming in on that we're going to really dive into those emails of the past and bring them out on the website because, great things like we talked about. I mean, I mentioned the parcel app the other day. Someone was talking about the app. I think it might be coming up, actually. We're talking about the one where, you can identify mail with it, which I thought was really quite cool. It could look out for names. Remember that one?
Oh, yes, Orion.
Orion, yeah. That's coming up, isn't it? We've got an interview coming up on that. I'm kind of getting ahead of ourselves here because we actually have planned some of this show, believe it or not. But the problem is we forget what we've done and what we haven't done. But yes, very, very interesting. And thank you, Barrie, for that. Really, really appreciate that. Tom has been in touch following our interview with John Dyer on the subject of Talkback and Talkback 15.
I found the interview with John Dyer from the Blind Android Users podcast to be very informative. I put my vote in for having John on as a regular guest. He's great. I listen to the Blind Android Users podcast and visit the Accessible Android site quite often. The two combined are indeed the closest there is to an Android fizz. I found the interview interaction you had with John very interesting and complementary to the type of information John provides on the Blind Android Users podcast. Well done. Thanks. Tom in Colorado.
Thank you, Tom. Let's move on to Callum.
Hi, Double Tappers. Quick question for Shaun. You mentioned in one of the recent shows that you have a shortcut that takes a photo and sends it to Be My Eyes. How did you get this to work? I've had a play around with the Shortcuts app and can find the action to take a photo, but can't figure out how to then take that as an input and share it to the Be My AI section of the Be My Eyes app.
Uh-oh.
Also, a few weeks ago you mentioned struggling to adjust the volume on Windows. The best way I find to do it is to press Windows A, which will launch the quick settings screen. Press tab to get to brightness, then arrow down. You should land on the mute button, then tab again, and you should find the volume slider. I agree it's nowhere near as quick and easy as it used to be, but arrowing down from brightness always gets me there, so hopefully it's the same on your machines. Stephen, as you have Lisi, this makes it easier for you. Lisi has the shortcut Control plus Windows plus Shift plus arrow keys. Up and down arrow will increase and decrease the volume by 10% increments, or left and right arrow will decrease or increase by 2% increments.
Love that.
Keep up the great show. Kind regards, Callum in Bolton, UK.
Thank you, Callum.
P.S.
Oh.
I've noticed there's another Callum who sometimes emails in, also from Yorkshire, which is where I'm from originally. So, hello, the other Callum. Talk about a small blind world.
Oh, it just is, though, isn't it?
The Callums will meet. I want to have the moment recorded when all these people, all the
universe.
Petes, there's loads of Petes and Peters.
There is.
Gregs.
All the Gregs in the world.
All the Gregs. We've got all the Callums now. Goodness me. We're building a collection of blind people. I like it.
Callum, you bring up an excellent point. So I did a Shaun of the Shed on creating a shortcut. And I used the example of using Be My Eyes to, I believe it was just tap the back of my phone and it would take a picture and describe it automatically. The problem being that was a beta of Be My Eyes that had those features in. And yes, I received a few emails saying, hang on, I haven't got that feature built into mine. So yeah, that was my fault. I thought by the time it went out, they would have been available, but apparently they still aren't. So in the official Be My Eyes app, you don't have those shortcuts, Siri shortcuts available yet. Although that may have changed by now. I don't know because I am on the beta program. So yes, that's exactly my fault. But the main concept, I'm going to try and save myself. The main concept of being able to set up a shortcut and assign it to a gesture or a Siri command or pressing the double tap in or triple tap in the back of your phone is still there. It's just the example I used of using Be My Eyes. Yeah, it doesn't seem that they're available to everyone. So my mistake. I'm sorry about that.
But,
sorry.
But it might come. That might be a thing that comes.
Oh, it should come, yes, because it is in the beta. So hopefully it will be in the official release at some point.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense to have something like that, right? I mean, that's a brilliant feature.
Oh, it is, yeah. I mean, some people may say, well, you just ask, Lady S to open Be My Eyes, and you can just press the volume buttons, I believe now, to take a picture. But I just find it so handy just to be able to tap. I just pull my phone out, triple tap the back of the phone, and it takes a picture and gives me the description straight away. I mean, I'm just using Be My Eyes for so much. I should say Be My AI for so much now that I just want quick access to it.
Yeah, I've got to say, I don't like the volume up thing for.
Oh no! How many times do you take a picture of your feet because you're trying to turn up voiceover?
Yeah,
I do it all the time.
That was what I was doing yesterday. I was trying to get that image and I'd managed to get the image, which wasn't that easy to start with because I couldn't quite get it. I wasn't sure if it was in frame. So I managed to get the image, and then as soon as I got it, I could barely hear the phone, so I turned to turn it up, and it took another picture, and it said, "This is a picture of a cushion," and I'm like, "No!"
Took another 5 pictures.
Yeah,
volume
I don't
up,
want
volume
that.
up, volume up.
Like, oh, it's a cushion. What colour is that cushion? I've always wondered. But no, it's Be My. I mean, this is the thing. I know we feel we say this all the time, but it is just such a wonderful thing. And again, it comes down to like, okay, yes, I know Meta AI are doing really well, and it looks like everything's improving over time, and yes, it will. But it's the fact that it's built with us in mind that makes the difference. The fact that the way it works for us easily. You don't have to jump through 20 hoops to get there or say a certain thing or, that perfect example from Jeff, describing the scene, giving it all that flowery information or lack of flower information in Jeff's case because it was just apparently full of weeds, but it was saying it was some tranquil, serene environment. I mean, it's just ridiculous. You don't want all that. You just want the facts.
Just the facts, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's trying so hard not to offend on any level, which I totally get. They got to be so careful, but at the same time,
it's got to be real
just
for
want
us.
the facts. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's go to Greg, our good friend Greg in Pennsylvania, who has got comment on me talking about specialist versus mainstream tech pricing.
Hello, S&S. Every time you enter a discussion of the cost of specialised technology, my blood pressure goes through the roof.
Sorry.
And I must count to 120 times, close my eyes and meditate on a calm pastoral setting full of pretty and sweet-smelling wildflowers and a trio of playful romping puppies, and then pour myself a stiff cocktail before responding to hurl my still raging feelings on the topic towards your comments. First off, new technology of any type tends to be expensive. Development cost is real. The first reading machines cost 6 figures with no one making a dime of profit. Now OCR reading can be had for virtually free as an end user. But OpenBook and Kurzweil 1000, which have not been updated in years, are still sold at exorbitant prices. Is it price gouging? Maybe. Customer support is expensive, and most assistive technology providers provide a lot of it. Braille displays are expensive, in part because the number of units to spread the cost of development and support is relatively small, but also they are very complicated, intricate devices. Each electromechanical pin is a delicate engineering marvel and sensitive durability challenge, and it must be made compatible with so many different devices. In my opinion, for what is needed to produce a Braille display and keep it functioning and supported, they are incredibly low-priced devices, and yes, they are very expensive to the blind consumer. That is why most of us need and deserve government help getting the assistive tech we need. Yes, the smartphone is a godsend to us, just as the personal computer is. We should all celebrate how much access technology we get as blind people at no cost to us as the end user. Be My Eyes, AI, Seeing AI, screen readers from Apple, NVDA, Microsoft and Google, many other tools completely free to us. None of these are free to develop or maintain or provide to us, but we get them for free. Some by government mandate, some by corporate charity, some by dedicated volunteers. I am full of gratitude for all of them. That is not all the technology we need or deserve. I am so sick and tired of the attacks on the pricing of specialised technology. It is mindless and ignorant. Every person must make buying decisions based on their individual needs, what they can afford or get funding for versus their real need for that technology. In most cases, specialised tech does what it is designed to do easier and faster than the smartphone equivalent, but not always. And, as our Kenyan friend so clearly illustrated, the smartphone almost always needs an internet connection. and as I always discover when travelling in the West Virginia mountains. If you can't afford or can't get funding for specialised tech and the smartphone does all you need, that is great. Don't buy any specialised tech. But if a $2,000 or $3,000 device makes your life significantly better or easier, or provides a path to employment, or any other benefit you perceive, the choice is yours. Buy it or get funding from an agency, or talk to the Lions, or have a fundraiser. Do what you need to get what you need, and be grateful that the device you need exists. Greg in Pennsylvania.
So should we just be grateful for the tech that exists, pay the money and shut up, Shaun Preece? That's the message from Greg, isn't it?
Well, no, I think, to be fair, I think Greg made some points there, perfectly valid points, but that line does, I don't know, that kind of sticks in my throat a little bit. Just be grateful that it exists. I kind of know where you're going with that, but it doesn't sit too well. And I think we're past the small market and the production costs. Hey, this only costs a quarter of the price you're actually retailing it at to produce this. I think we're past that. I don't think that's a valid argument. You can make the same thing about the iPhone, any Android phone. Of course, they put on their profit margin on that. I think this is more about being able to access that and why the price is there. And is it because of government agency pricing? Is it because they can charge that? Never mind sustainability or profitability. Is it because of the, I'm going to say, sort of out-of-date funding structures that are there already, that these are taken advantage of? Price gouging? I wouldn't say so. But still, I think that there is a model in place that maybe is, I don't know, old now. I think it may be holding back people's access to this very important, as you mentioned, useful equipment.
Yeah.
I still think there's a discussion to be had about it. Maybe not attacking the companies themselves, but rather the whole funding thing that's in place.
I certainly don't think it's mindless and ignorant to discuss it. I think it's mindless and ignorant to not discuss it, perfectly honestly, because I feel, when it comes to having these discussions, it's very important that we enter into this. No one else is having this chat, right? And partly is that because the people who are in front of the microphones around the world who talk about these issues are perhaps either have worked for or been part of or still work for these companies, and therefore they're never going to turn around and go, yes, the price is too high, we must lower our prices. Of course they're not going to say that.
I think we just got to be honest, though, and it's an honest discussion with the companies themselves. I'm not attacking the company for charging this, but I want this product to be available for the longest time. And the fact of the matter is, no one buys it because of that price point, then that company or that product isn't going to carry on.
It's not an old way of doing business. I think it's an old way of thinking. Or I don't know if it is an old way of thinking. I think, honestly, these companies are looking at the bottom line as they should in order to survive. I get it. But here's the thing. They're pricing for government and business spends. So they're expecting the government and the business, companies or whoever it might be, to pay the price. And that means the price can go up. We all know this. I mean, there's nothing new here. This happens all the time. You go onto any website for any service you can think of, you'll see the consumer rate, and then you'll see the business rate, which usually says call for pricing. And that usually tells you whatever the price is, it'll be 5 times as much for business. And that's seen as okay. And we've kind of just got over that, and that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. My issue is that there is not a consumer price level on these things. If you're saying to me, well, they have to be expensive because that's how much they cost and that's the way it is, well, fine, okay, they have to be that price, but not for the consumer. If that is the cost, if clearly that margin they've set is working for them with business and say with government support, them buying, I think of the most obvious answer to that being the NLS reader, which is essentially a chameleon, 20 from APH and HumanWare together. HumanWare, I think, providing the hardware and APH providing the services. That to me I would imagine would be quite a costly device for the companies, for the government to buy, for in the various states that are buying them in. But for a consumer, can we bring that cost down? Does it have to be the same price? Because that's the problem. It's all enterprise pricing in these devices. I don't have an issue with enterprise pricing. I have an issue with paying enterprise pricing as a consumer. And if we all remember, didn't we all get upset when Ira did this? When Ira said, well, this is enterprise pricing and this is what people pay and therefore it has to cost more. And everyone was up in arms about it. When the same discussions had about a Braille display, they go, oh, no, the price is fine. Well, it's not fine. I'm sorry, it's not fine. And it doesn't have to be that high for consumer pricing. I don't believe it. I believe you can have two levels. Okay. No, I believe you can have two levels of pricing.
Two-tier pricing. You saying that's the future?
But that is how business generally works, yes. If I'm a company and I'm buying an iPhone, it will probably cost a different price to what it would cost as an individual. That's how it works. There's a corporate price and there's a consumer price. Why don't we do that with specialist?
The argument being that the enterprise cost subsidizes
exactly
very much like the services you mentioned.
Absolutely.
The consumer price. Yeah. Okay.
That's all I'm suggesting.
Greg, I think you made some valid points there. Absolutely.
But hang on. Here's the point.
Discussion is good.
But here's the point. And this is why it's important to have this discussion. Because to be perfectly frank with you, Greg, if we just leave it to your approach, we'll never have this discussion and the price will always be high. In fact, you know what? Companies, make it higher. Charge 10 grand for the next big release you've got. Because, why not? That's the cost. That's the way it goes. I mean, everyone's all excited about this new Monarch from Humanware, right? Everyone's, it's so exciting. And isn't it great? Isn't it wonderful? Have you seen the price of this thing? I mean, I keep seeing different prices, and I don't know if it's where these countries, every country has a different price based on its own currency. But I mean, we're talking well over 10,000 at least. And I'm thinking, this is all well and good, but who's buying this? Who's going to pay that money? It is government. It is
big
business.
Companies.
That's it.
Education.
But what about the individual that wants it? What do they get out of it? And is that the price of where we're at? Well, this technology is so expensive that we can't possibly afford to sell it on a consumer level. Okay, maybe that's the case. I don't know. But I can't celebrate something like that when it's so costly that it's actually going to be out of reach for more people. And this is why I go back to my point. As we sit here in the year of 200 years of Braille, as the celebrations jump up and down, everyone gets all excited about it. I can't help but think this is a business with diminishing returns is going to kill itself because ultimately the prices are too high, the numbers of people learning Braille are too low, and they're not increasing. And the gap between being able to afford these devices is growing every day, unless you're in employment. And a staggeringly low number of people are in employment who are blind. It's all very well saying, if your employment is great. Look at the numbers of people who are in employment. On average, in the West, it's about 25% of working age blind people are in employment. 25%. So 75% of blind people of working age are never going to access this technology then. And the answer of just start a fundraiser. Come on. Really? Is that the answer? I just don't buy it. I don't buy it, and I think that is what's going to kill Braille. I don't think Braille is dead. I don't want Braille to die. Do not mistake what I'm saying here. I'm not saying I want Braille to die. I want it to live on forever. That's why I have this argument. I want companies to sit up and listen.
Okay.
Sit up and listen, because you're going to kill yourself if you don't. And it's such a shame. Such a shame. So
there's a discussion,
got a serious discussion about this. And if you think that's mindless and ignorant, then I'm mindless and ignorant. Right, let's get a couple more emails in.
It's nice to agree on something.
Wow. Jenny on Braille.
CT Braille Lite. I wanted to let you all in on an app I just learned about. I don't know if it is available in Scotland or the UK, but supposedly this app is fully accessible and all buttons are properly labelled with voiceover. It is a Braille learning tool. Have fun. Jenny Facer.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. I will definitely check that out. Thank you very much. I think I can go into the app segment, which we still haven't named. Ian's back. I don't know if this is the same Ian. I apologise, Ian. Maybe a different Ian. We get a lot of Callums and Gregs and everyone else's, so this could be a different Ian. Talking about O&M provision.
Hello, Shaun and Stephen. Your June podcast on O&M pressed so many buttons around my own experience of going blind, I felt compelled to put my 10p in. On the matter of acceptance and ownership of being suddenly blind, I went through the exact feelings that Shaun had. I think that orientation should include as much advice as possible on the psychological, as well as the skills needed. Knowing that my denial was commonplace and unproductive could have saved me some embarrassing and painful events. Does anyone have experience of this approach being taken in recent orientation sessions? On the subject of O&M provision today, I guess I am lucky to have received it 20 years ago. I live in the East Riding of Yorkshire, a lovely place, but it currently has less than one full-time O&M instructor in a county with one of the oldest population profiles in the UK. There are statutory requirements in law for the provision of support to the newly visually impaired that have been flouted for at least a decade with no improvement in sight. Pun intended. Where is the accountability for this woeful situation? Anyway, with that off my chest, I am glad to have discovered your show and have just subscribed to your YouTube channel in order to catch up on that content as well. All the best, Ian, the Shoreliner Harrison.
It was Ian Harrison, yes, thank you, Ian.
Of course
and actually, it's funny because I got an email from Ian just the other day saying, I know I haven't read out any of my emails. Well, you got two. You got
we're
two
getting
emails. First
so
off,
far
thank you
behind.
so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy this, whatever this thing is. And, I really appreciate the subscription as well, because that means that we are one step closer to not being cancelled.
Yes, thank you very much. O&M is so important. Of course it is. I haven't received it. But you know what? I think it's part of a broader discussion about the support that you're given, mainly when you're given that diagnosis. I'm sorry, there's nothing else we can do for you. You're either going to lose more sight or your sight is where it's at now and it's not going to improve. You're just sort of, I remember just leaving the hospital and that's it. Where do you go? The follow-up support that I think is missing, so obviously lacking there. I think that's where we need more help.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a difficult topic, isn't it? I mean, it's funny because you're in that position. I remember being 14 years old and being told, that's it. You're discharged from the hospital. I mean, I was actually getting so used to going to the hospital. I used to go every month to get a checkup.
Yeah, every 6 weeks.
I always got a lollipop and I quite enjoyed the lollipop, and I didn't get lollipops before that, so I quite enjoyed them. And so I was like, okay, this is cool. And then, I'd go along, and then one day, bang, that was it. And I was told no more treatment. And I said, well, what happens next? In that way, you're 14. And look, I was 14 in the 90s, which is not the 14 of today, which seems a lot more clued up than I would have been. And certainly as a fairly isolated kid growing up, I had no idea what that meant. And I thought, does that mean everything's fine now? I don't have any problems. And they're like, no, you'll still have this eye condition. It won't get any worse. My favorite line. It won't get any worse, but, that's where we're at. And basically, there's no more we can do for you. And that's exactly the line they used. There's no more we can do for you.
No more lollipops for you.
No,
sir.
that's it. My end of lollipop days were over. But,
it's also difficult though, right? Because for the longest time, I was kicking back about it anyway. I wasn't accepting it, so I probably would have said, no, I don't need any help.
Yeah,
so I'm not saying it's an easy solution at all, but it just feels like lots of people are just cut loose. And even if they request help, sometimes that's just not available in your area.
I think what gets me is that when you do go back, as I did on a couple of occasions, because I had it in my head, and this is what happens, I guess, when you, without information, you just make stuff up in your mind. And so I had it in my head that I could be fixed. There was a way. I had read on the internet, there was this guy and he'd had a similar condition to me and he managed to get this treatment. And so I'm
monkey
like, right,
glands.
Yeah, that's it. I'm off. I was off to China to get stem cell treatment. It was 500 grand. I was going to do a fundraiser like Greg suggested, but they couldn't. No one was interested in helping me. So that was the end of that. But I thought, okay, I'm going to do this stuff. And I just genuinely believed I could be sorted. And, this time next week, I'll be standing in the forecourt of a car dealership and I'll be buying something. I was watching episodes of Top Gear to get excited about the car I was going to buy.
Dear.
I mean, seriously, it went right. I went off the rails for a little while with that. And I eventually I had to fight to get a consultant appointment just to speak to me. Now, of course, I know I'm looking back on it, I was wasting their time. But this goes to the heart of, I think, what the mental health discussion is around blindness.
Yeah, of course.
That nobody talks about either. It's another thing nobody talks about. Because you can end up in a situation where you just, and we've talked, and you very eloquently put it this way regarding the whole Elon Musk and Neuralink. People can get wrapped up in this idea of a cure or a fix, and therefore they don't live their life. They just get wrapped up. And I know because I did the same thing with this. I was convinced I could drive a car. And I was going to drive a car, and all they had to do was fix it. And I had to sit there with this consultant, and God love him, and a very, very nice guy. And he just sat there and he said, look, okay. And he went through all the things we were going to do. And he said, look, at the end of the day, we can do all this, but we've no guarantee anything's going to work. And do you really want to go through all this? And I have to say, it was the bit when he said, we'll put a needle in your eye. And I said, yeah, do you know what? I think I'm fine. I think I'm all right. I think I can live. You know what? Pff, driving, who cares? Let's be honest, we'll be driverless soon enough. And, you can get the bus.
I'll take the bus.
Yeah, exactly. Well, taxi, to be fair. Yeah, that was it. But I do know it's a difficult
It's
one.
an interesting discussion. Mental health is a big topic in our community, I think.
Well, sometimes you just got to acknowledge it, right? It's like people don't even acknowledge that it exists.
It just makes you feel worse. Like there's something else wrong with me. I can't, whatever it may be.
There's no shame in it, I'll tell you that.
Nope.
Ian, thank you so much for that. For all of you, thank you for all your comments. That is it for us today. Back tomorrow with that conversation with Lisi Lilienfeld. I will get her name wrong tomorrow.
Well done.
From Google. She's the product manager of Android, talking about the introduction of Google Gemini and Talkback. A beautiful marriage, the ceremony tomorrow on Double Tap. I'll be wearing a hat. Thank you, Shaun. Catch you then.
Thank you. Bye-bye.